All right, here we are. First Walk Me First Occult Services, here to go over rectification on this day, December 4th, year of the snake. And today we have a full moon. Actually, probably, yeah, it's going on right now, I believe. Let me just take a look. Yeah, probably in a few minutes, it'll be exact. So I want to go over rectification, and that meaning is to find out when your exact time is. So your exact time when you were born on your birth. And the reason why you want to know, or why it's very useful, because everybody else goes off of it. You won't get an appointment with the lawyer, doctor, or any type of lodging or without your birthday. And there's a reason, because with your birthday, if you know the exact time, you can see the strengths and weaknesses. And if you don't know, that's okay. You might be natural and you just know things, but you'll have blind spots because everyone does. Like behind me, I mean, I see the painting of the sun and the painting of the moon behind me because I'm looking at this camera, but my eyes aren't actually looking at it. So it's a blind spot. And your peripheral is a blind spot too till you actually look at it. And with these blind spots, it's hard to, I guess, navigate through certain things because you have 12 houses. And well, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. So let's go back to rectification. And if you know your exact time, then you don't need to know, or you might want to confirm, because you can definitely confirm. And like me, I had to do rectification to find out the exact time. But sometimes your time could be off if you're going by word of mouth or birth certificate. A couple minutes usually is too much. Rectification will probably get you within 3 to 5 minutes, depending on where the planets, or I'd like to call them celestials, are placed during their day when you're born. But if it could be a little difficult to get it down to the exact minute. I would say within 1 to 3 minutes. And that's pretty exact. And in most cases, you can, because of where the celestials are placed. Because you'll know the difference. You'll know the difference. So when I talked about strengths and weaknesses, there are opposites. There are polar opposites in every chart. So you'll have your rising ascendant. That's really the indicator of when you were born, and then you'll have your rising ascendant, and then you'll have your descendant directly opposite of it. And that's a relationship house, seventh house, and your ascendant is your first house where it starts. And then you have your midheaven MC that's directly above, and then you have your nadir or IC directly below. So you have those opposites just in those four corners, but you also have the opposites no matter where your celestial is. So say like, okay, my sun is in Capricorn, the opposite would be Cancer. And anytime you think about an opposite, there's a singularity. So there's a line going straight to like A to B, right? But then also when you split that line and the circumference, going on the circle, like going around the circle, that's a singularity too. It's 180 degrees because 180 splits it, and then you have that circumference, half of 360. 360 is the circle. So I'm getting a little ahead, but just want to give you a basic understanding of rectification. And because anytime you're dealing with something, you also have the opposite, and the opposite is part of it as well, because you'll learn, um, just as life goes on. At any time, you'll understand the opposite better than someone who's not opposite or in that place, because you're directly across. You have those energies, those extremes coming at each other, and that singularity is the middle, or the medium, or right down the line. So the next point to make for rectification is to know the difference between fate and destiny. And I use those words because uh, they're easy to assimilate, easy to understand. So your fate is more, how it's mostly been explained as a path that's been made for you, that you go down, sort of like rudders, like, not tunnel vision, but just like a path that's laid out before you. And the destiny is a path you make. And sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they lead to the same place, sometimes they don't. Uh, I'm not here to say what is or what isn't, but when you know your chart, when you know exactly when you're born, it makes it a lot easier to differentiate the two. So rectification is going to help if you don't know your time, and that's why I'm here, because I can figure it out. Um, like I said, down to a few minutes, and if you don't, that's good. Then you'll need to go to another video, and we'll talk about more things in depth on astrological charts and meanings. So then, as above, so below, and this is another example why it's important. So as above, astronomy, stars, those celestials, sun, moon, Mercury, Mars, Venus, the outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. So you'll have those, but so below is astrology, because when you're born, it shows where those energies are represented through you, or where you represent yourself through those energies. Because really, even, sometimes there's debate if what's real or not, if these celestials are really out there. If you can't see it, then it's not there. I say they're concentrations of energy and representing that energy. And as we know, you as we know, just from your sun sign, you can tell the difference between someone, and it's easier with that. Usually, people go with that because with your sun sign, it's it's more apparent. It's the biggest thing in the solar system. It's it's the biggest gravitational pull. It's what you can see, you know. So as above, so below. You bring it down. That's the easiest thing for people to understand. Just like every day you get up, the sun's out. Maybe it's not. Maybe the clouds are out. But when you do that, when you know your sun sign, that's just well, I wouldn't say a small piece. That's just a portion. It's a big portion. Don't get me wrong, and mostly evident to most people who are familiar with either your energy, sun signs, or astrology in general. But it's not the be all. Uh, well, know one thing: you're a combination of everything. So, and then I'll leave on this. As with inner, so with outer. So Oh, no. I'm sorry. I got two more steps. I'm going off these notes just to make sure I stay on point. Still a little swaying off. Might be the new moon. I mean, the full moon. So, as with inner spirit, what comes in the body makes it run. You know what you are until you know your body expires. Spirit leaves with outer. So as within, so with outer. And the outer is reality. So the spirit itself creates reality. Everything starts in the spirit realm, world. I, Everything starts there. Physical is like the last stage of manifestation. So I say like because there's all types of manifestation. So physical is the last stage, like demonstration. You're seeing it, it's manifesting. Earth, boom, reality that we see. Most of us think, well, I won't say most, we don't know how everybody thinks, but I would say a good portion don't really look at the spiritual in a way of creating everything you see. And that is the reality. That's the actual reality. Reality is the spirit's undefinable, but I want to say the first spirit is undefinable. Um, the reality is the outcome of the spirit, or what happens, or what the spirit creates or doesn't create. That's what makes reality. And then the last one that we'll go into is opposites. So you have your opposites, you have malefics, and you have angles. And I'll get to that. You might thought I was going to say benefics or benefics, where your malefics are those planets. They say like bad planet, bad fortune, malefics, which are Mars, Saturn. Some aren't sure about Neptune, but I would say it's a malefic. Um, Uranus and Pluto. So you have and let's say the moon and sorry, the moon and Mercury are neutral or mutable, either or. Some would be the benefic, Venus and Jupiter. Those are your good lucky planets, good fortune. What I guess common knowledge or common understanding is. And so when you look at it just like that, you would say, well, wait a minute, there's more malefics than benefics. And that's where I'm going to get into the opposites, because there's an opposite. They're not opposites. They're all part of the family, all part of your body, all part of reality that you make. So the malefics usually foretell bad fortune to most people, and or if they've been given a bad rap. Sometimes it's true. Like yeah, Mars and Saturn, they'll do something. They'll do some work on your situations. But we want to go to the angles, where the angles, there's sometimes angels, right? Angles, they're more benefic angles than bad angles. So there are more good angles than bad angles. So like um, I don't really like to think of it as good and bad, but just for understanding and getting it across in a common way where you can understand. Um, so the angles, like okay, so like an opposite would be considered a either hard angle or bad angle. So you'll have difficult energy, and also with the square, the 90 degree. Um, and sometimes you'll see that, like when we talked about sun signs, depending on the person. Um, but like, say somebody has all, well, no, I wouldn't say all, but a lot of energy, a lot of their celestials in one sign, and then they have another person with the not the same celestials, but a lot of, like a stellium. There's three or more planets um, in a sign that's square or opposite. They'll have they might have difficulties. They might have an understanding, a better understanding than most people, because um, opposites, you you share opposites. I mean, every side has another side. So it's not a mirror, but it is like two extremes. And once they come together, then it's a singularity, or um, a neutral energy, I would say, but or not non-extreme energy. But your opposites are going to be extreme. That's why they call it, opposites, opposed, because they're different. It's just different. And that's why I'm here, understanding, and rectification will help you understand if you don't know your birth time. And um, it'll take you to a new chapter or new possibilities, because you can interpret these energies once you know about them, because you're living them. You are the receipt. You literally are. So you know yourself more than anyone else can know. And if you don't know when you're born, uh, I advise you to find out. So this video is just for educational purposes only. I'm not, if you find it entertaining, good. But that's not the intent. It's just educational, and I plan to do, well, I will have more videos, and each one I try to do, it'll be a standalone, and until we get a nice portfolio and move forward on other things. So again, First Waklimi, first occult services, here to provide services for you. And this is a video on rectification, explaining what to be done if you don't know your birth time. And if you want a reading, if you want a rectification, comment below, or put it in the comments, or if you've emailed me, tell me in the comments that you've emailed me, and then we can correspond there. All readings are confidential, and we can negotiate prices. I'll keep it reasonable, no more than $50 for a full reading. If you want a composite reading, then that will probably be, I'm open for negotiation, but around 75 to 100, depending on how many people you want to know. But you can't do that with it. You have to know your time for a reading. So that's what this video is about. If you don't know the time you were born, or if you're unsure, if you doubt, you're like, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't add up. Sometimes it could be like there are other variables. So you could have a fixed star conjunct with one of your planets that it gives you confusion, because it's going to be a different different frequency vibration than just the planet itself. So there are many variables. I'll go into that, but again, I'll do that on another video, because I want to do this standalone so you can actually see what you want to see, learn what you want to learn, and get it through as quickly as possible, and enjoy life. Thank you for your time if you made it this far. Like and subscribe to move the algorithm to get this seen. And you can also share if you think somebody needs it. Talk to you again.